I know I'm about 45 minutes late, and I know probably not everybody is here, uh, but that's okay. I just got through being interviewed uh, concerning this wonderful new book uh, of Robert Anton Wilson's comments, essays, delightful bonbons, brilliant works on Aleister Crowley. It's called Lion of Light. Just came out. Richard Kaczynski uh, does a beautiful foreword, and I do an introduction to it myself. And if you are not at all familiar with Robert Anton Wilson, God, get this and read what he has to say about Aleister Crowley. Not only is it brilliant stuff about Aleister Crowley, which many of you are familiar with, but it gives you an insight. It introduces you to the brilliance, the warmth, the wit, the cynicism, the glory that is Robert Anton Wilson. And I just had a wonderful discussion, not only about Bob, but around the characters and such of the era that I guess Bob and I both come from. I held this up sort of as a teaser before here because I knew I was going to be late this morning. But this is Oye, and we always pronounced it Oyes because that was sort of a Discordian thing to do, and because we didn't know how to pronounce it. Summer solstice 1980, and we called it the Sacred Cow. Now, the Sacred Cow is a symbol. That's me eating a hot dog dressed up like a Greek Orthodox bishop at Angel Stadium in 1980. I'm eating a hot dog on a Friday. That's a long story in and of itself. Perhaps I'll talk about that. But this hot dog on a Friday and this holy cow, or the sacred cow thing, I'm going to read you. This is our lodge newsletter. Let's see, what does it say? Limited edition of 100 copies. What hath guilds wrought? There may be those among us who are bewildered over the theme of this issue of Oye. Some may ask, what does all this Discordian stuff have to do with the OTO? And when we say Discordian, we're talking Robert Anton Wilson too. Okay, among other brilliant people. Haruraha Lodge encourages the guild system, as announced in the first issue of Oye and described in the Blue Equinox. Guilds bring together those of like mind or occupation to prosecute their own interests. Since the announcement, several guilds have been formed to provide specialized activities of interest to various segments of our lodge population, and we encourage the guilds to contribute material to Oye. One of the most popular and unusual guild is the Guild of Dynamic Discord, GODD. Fans of the underground magico-mystico masterpiece of the 1960s, Principia Discordia, or How I Found Goddess and What I Did to Her When I Found Her, which spawned such more recent hits as Bob Wilson's The The Illuminatus trilogy, and Cosmic Trigger. And since this was published, Prometheus Rising, and just a whole bunch of other brilliant books. Crowley on Drugs. GODD organized the now famous Eat a Hot Dog on Friday the 13th field trip to Angel Stadium, which delighted and outraged Southern California baseball fans. See article and pictures in this issue. For those who have never been exposed to the sublime transcendent nonsense of discordia, we offer this brief glimpse at what has been described by some as the, quote, summit of modern Zen, and by others, a complete waste of time. LMD. Okay, let me see what I can share. Let me read the Pentabarf, because this is from Discordia, from Principia Discordia. The Five Commandments, the Pentabarf. The Pentabarf was discovered by the hermit apostle Zarathustra in the 5th year of the caterpillar. He found them carved in gilded stone while building a sun deck for his cave, but their import was lost, for they were written in a mysterious cipher. However, after 10 weeks and 11 hours of intensive scrutiny, he discovered that the message could be read by standing on his head and viewing it upside down. Know ye this, O man of faith. 1. There is no goddess but goddess, and she is your goddess. There is no Irisian movement, but the Irisian movement, and it is the Irisian movement. And every golden apple core, C-O-R-P-S, is the beloved home of a golden worm. 2. A Discordian shall always use the official Discordian document numbering system. 3. A Discordian is required during his early illumination to go off alone and partake joyously of a hot dog on a Friday. This devotive ceremony is to remonstrate against the popular paganisms of the day. Of Catholic Christendom, no meat on Friday. That's how old this was. Of Judaism, no meat of pork. Of Hindic peoples, no meat of beef. Of Buddhists, no meat of animal. And of Discordians, no hot dog buns. 4. A Discordian shall partake of no hot dog buns, for such was the solace of our goddess when she was confronted with the original snub. Now, this original snub. Eris was the goddess who was snubbed by Aphrodite and I don't know, Athena and Diana. Anyway, other goddesses. Someone will correct me, I'm sure. And they were like the in crowd, okay? And Eris was a hot goddess herself, but she was just too hip for, she was a wild thing. Wild thing. Eris, think I love you. But anyway, so she had a golden apple made. And on it, she wrote, "To the fairest." And then she tossed it in to the the circle of these other three goddesses, and they picked it up. Oh, this must be for me. And the other one said, oh, no, this one's for me. It's sort of the fairest. I'm the fairest. And they started arguing, and it created discord, which was Eris's specialty. Okay, that's the original snub. 5. Discordian. A Discordian is prohibited of believing what he reads. It is so written, so be it. Hail Discordia. Prosecutors will be transgressed. Okay. Test question from Tobanga Cabal, the 12 famous Buddha mind school. If they are our brothers, how come we can't eat them? A Discordian is required during his early illumination to go off and joyously partake of a hot dog. Go off alone, it says. On Friday the 13th, an event of unparalleled obscurity took place in full view of a mob of thousands of the profane. The mindless, snarling swarm came to see the angels, California angels, do battle to stay in 13th place. But 33 people, that's how many we got to dress up and go. 33 people were there for a very different reason. 33 of perhaps the most dangerous subversive ever assembled were there to consecrate and consume a forbidden feast. Some were dressed not so as to not attract attention as Roman Catholic and Romanian Orthodox clergy and nuns. Others maintained an even lower profile and came wearing green-pointed hats and silver moons and stars and glasses with eyeballs that popped out on springs. Between shouts of "Baseball," I pretended I couldn't speak English. And so when something exciting happened on the screen, and I was dressed up like this Romanian Orthodox bishop in black and everything, and I was in a full robe. I'd slap my knee and go, "Baseball! Baseball!" And then a friend of mine from work, Atik Razul Raja, who's from Pakistan, and he spoke with the thickest Pakistani accent, and he was my interpreter. So I'd slap my leg and go, "Baseball! Baseball!" And he'd turn to everybody else and he goes, the bishop loves baseball." Okay, between shots of baseball and Marvin, word was telepathically communicated among the 33 that the bishop was about to eat a hot dog. Now, I hadn't eaten. The clicking of camera shutters filled the air like peanut brittle as he unwrapped his hot dog. 13 years the bishop had been a strict vegetarian. 13 years without a hot dog. Mustard was added, then relish. "Stand up," shouted the priest in a tuxedo pants and highway patrol boots. The bishop stood up. He closed his eyes. He stuck the hot dog in his mouth. He bit down. For the bishop, time had stopped. The scream of his mind was... the screen of his mind was packed with dizzying images of dancing pigs and Julie Eisenhower. The veil of long-forgotten incarnations of swine eating was parted like a raincoat on a bus depot pervert. In the infinite moment, a heretofore ignored batter on the field connected with a blue darter into left field stands not 50 feet from the secret conclave. The gods had conspired with omniscient wit to force every man and woman in left field to leap to their feet and scream with unbridled hysteria at the very instant the forbidden feast was consummated. The bishop opened his eyes, bowed with mock humility, then sat down. On the field below, the Angels were being trounced by the Red Sox. In the left field stands, a nun went once again to the concession stand for more beer and hot dogs. "Thank you, sister," the concessionaire said with respect. "God bless you," she said as she counted her change. Note, on Friday the 13th, the California Angels were in 13th place in the American League. On the 14th, they were in 14th place. On the 15th, they were in 15th place. On the 16th, nobody cared. And here is a picture of Pat Boone with a hot dog going, "Hail Eris." There's a California Angels mascot. There's a ticket stub. I was in seat 23. Let's see. I've got a few more pictures here. This is the special OES. Let's see here. That guy right there, that's my interpreter. There's Constance. There's Sel Heidel. And there's Doug James. Doug, are you watching? There you are. And there's Jean-Paul. Little Jean-Paul went to there. And there's me. Baseball. And there's Tom Saline, the late Tom Saline. There's me at the moment of the hot dog. Look at Constance. She looks just like that today. She looks better today. And there's Sel watching me eat it. Let's see here. Let's see. There we go. There's a couple other attendees. There's Doug munching down a hot dog of his own. I think Dewey Worth is there. I think that's Stephen New, if I'm not mistaken. And this is 1980. Wow. And there, I got a baseball glove in my hand there. And there's people sitting behind us there going, "What the fuck is going on here?" Anyway, that's all I'm going to, that's the Discordianness I'm going to share in honor of talking about the late, great Bob Wilson. Tomorrow, I've got another thing at 9 o'clock, but hopefully I won't be going late with that one. Until tomorrow, continue to be good to yourself, be good to each other. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law, love under will. Hail Eris.